We'll be celebrating the greatest blow ever struck for the cause of freedom, the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Our founding fathers proclaimed that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That declaration inspired our nation to reach new heights of human freedom, but its promise wasn't complete until we abolished the shame of slavery from our land and, in the lifetime of many of us, wrote the civil rights statutes that outlawed discrimination by race, religion, gender, or national origin.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and welcome to this month's Live from at the Reagan Library. Remember, we do these on the first Wednesday of every month. I'm going to start this one by giving you a warning. We're out here in the 100-degree hot sun. We're having a couple of technical difficulties, so hopefully you can see me and you can see these wonderful Charters of Freedom behind me. But we're going to get started. In today's Live From, we're going to go back to 2 months ago when the Reagan Library celebrated our annual 4th of July celebration. And during that annual event, we actually unveiled our brand new Charters of Freedom monument setting, which is behind me right here. This beautiful setting is replicas of our Charters of Freedom, so our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, and our Bill of Rights, as well as a panel on civil rights. We're going to spend today's Live From telling you why we have these, the history of these charters, and more information about how you can come see them for yourself. But like always, we are going to engage with you, which is why I'm holding my phone. So please, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, go right now, go to that comment box. Tell me your name and where you're watching from so I can say hello, or ask a question about Ronald Reagan or what I'm talking about here today so we can answer them. I'm going to be going to those screens 6, 7, or 8 times today, so please don't be shy. Go to that comment box. We are also live streaming on LinkedIn. But right now, we're not able to engage with you live on that one. So if you want to chat with me, which I hope you do, you need to be watching on YouTube or Facebook. So let's actually talk about what is behind me here and what is the origin of them. So back in 2011, a couple by the name of Vance and Mary Jo Patterson went to Washington, D.C. on vacation, and they decided they had never gone to the National Archives and actually witnessed in person our nation's founding documents. So they went to the National Archives, and while they were there, they saw our Charters of Freedom. And they both recall when they read "We the People" in the Constitution, Vance himself said he got goosebumps, Mary Jo said she got tears in her eyes, and it was just an experience they couldn't forget. And a year later, in 2012, they started talking about how can they help other people have the same experience, especially people who aren't able to get to Washington, D.C. So they actually reached out to the National Archives and asked permission to create replicas. They got the permission, and just 2 years after that, in 2014, the Pattersons gifted the citizens of Burke County, North Carolina, the first ever Charters of Freedom monument setting. They then made it their mission to put at least one of these in every single state across America. And we are so honored and blessed here at the Reagan Library to be the first location in California. So if you live anywhere on the sort of West Coast and you can't get out to Washington, D.C., we highly recommend you come out to the Reagan Library to take a look for yourself. So what we're going to start doing now is actually talking about each of the various panels. But before we do that, like I promised, I really want to engage with you. So I'm really going to hope this works. So let's take a look. I'm currently on YouTube. Look at that, I see myself. Please do not be shy. Give me your name. Tell me where you're watching from so I can say hello. I'm on Facebook. I am on YouTube. I'm not seeing anyone, but it's possible it's just me. I'm looking up to see if,
Savannah says hi.
Savannah says hi. Thank you, Savannah. I'm assuming Savannah is watching from Fort Collins, Colorado, because I'm assuming that's my daughter. And if it is, thank you so much for watching. How about people who aren't related to me? Please give me your name and where you're watching from so I can say hello. Of course, I always appreciate family watching. Anyone else that you guys are seeing? Not.
Nakanashi from Japan.
Our Japanese friend. Thank you so much for watching. You never cease to amaze me that you tune in every event. So I'm going to give you information about one panel, and I'm going to come right back to you all. So please don't be shy. Put in your name and where you're watching from so I can say hello or ask a question. But let's actually start talking about these panels. Again, I really am sorry about the sun. I hope you can see what I'm seeing. But we're going to start with the Declaration of Independence. Now, I'm not here to give you a history lesson. I have the feeling you all know all of this anyway. But of course, the Declaration of Independence is the founding document of our nation, adopted on July 4th of 1776. It's formally known as the Unanimous Declaration of the 13 States of America. And its job was basically to tell the world that the 13 colonies were now independent states, separate and independent from British colonial rule. Now, there were 56 delegates that were there. They all signed the document. They're known as our founding fathers. And of course, John Hancock was the first signature on that document. He's the most famous signature on the document, of course, because of his size. And he was the president of the Continental Congress at the time. So let's actually go to President Reagan to hear President Reagan say a few words about the Declaration. And then we're coming back to you. So please go to that comment box right now. So we're back. I hear I owe a hello to Fetty, so hello Fetty. You guys are usually more talkative. Please don't be shy. My favorite part of these lives is talking to all of you. So please let me know you're watching. You don't have to ask a question. Just give me your first name and the city that you're in so I know where you're watching from. Again, my favorite part of these live from, so don't be shy. The second panel is the replicas of the United States Constitution. Of course, the Constitution is the supreme law of our nation, most famously beginning with the words, "We the people," which is not only at the very top of the Constitution, but it's out here on the side of the monument as well. And the Constitution basically acted as a way to join or to unite all the various states within the United States, because at the time they had different religions, different traditions, different practices, different laws. And its rule was to sort of bring them all together. Of course, the first 3 articles of the United States Constitution really embodies separation of power, creating the 3 levels or branches of our federal government, of course, judicial, legislative, and executive. So next thing we're going to do is take you to President Reagan talking about the Constitution. And then my warning, I'm coming back to you guys. So please, please, please say hello.
The basic premise of the Constitution hasn't changed. It's still our blueprint for freedom. One of our more able statesmen and constitutional lawyers, Daniel Webster, once wrote, "We may be tossed upon an ocean where we can see no land, nor perhaps the sun or stars. But there is a chart and a compass for us to study, to consult, and obey. The chart is the Constitution."
Fond memories of the Reagan Library.
I just heard there's someone watching from Oregon saying he has fond memories of the Reagan Library. Thank you so much. I'm hearing, I think it's Anthony from Liverpool. I have been to Liverpool. I loved it. Of course, I went and had to see a Beatles tour. Thank you for tuning in, especially, I can't even imagine what time it is right there. I hear there's someone from Chatsworth. Juan from Chatsworth, and I'm also being told there's someone else. Let's see if it pulls back up. I will come back to you because I'm going back to the screen. So I know someone else is watching. I'm going to say hello to you. Now I'm standing next to the Bill of Rights, and this is actually interesting. There's something I want to point out. So I know we all know what the Bill of Rights is. The Bill of Rights, of course, is the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. We have a lot of people come out to see this. And of course, as well, the Bill of Rights basically creates Americans' rights and their civil liberties in relationship to the government. Of course, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of religion being some of the most common ones. And we've had people come out here and tell us that our Bill of Rights is wrong because they know the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. And when you actually read this, there are 12. This is not a mistake. When you go to the National Archives and you look at the original Charters of Freedom, the Bill of Rights in the National Archives has 12. And that's because when they were creating the amendments, the House actually ratified 17. They wanted 17 amendments in the very beginning. 17 went to the Senate. The Senate ratified 12 of them, and 12 went forward, but only 10 became the first 10 amendments. But the 12 that went forward are the 12 that are in the actual original Bill of Rights in the handwriting. That's what's on display in the National Archives, and that's why we have 12. So now we're going to hear President Reagan talk about the Bill of Rights, and then I'm coming back to you guys, so say hello.
We in the United States have been blessed to live in a land where law and freedom are found not simply in a Constitution and a Bill of Rights, but in our daily lives. This is cause not for complacency, and self-congratulation, but for profound gratitude, a gratitude that's best expressed in the lives of responsible citizenship.
I was just told I have a Tuesday docent watching. That is so cool. I believe it's Nada. I'm so sorry, Nada, if that's not how you pronounce your name. If it's not how you pronounce your name, or even if it is, come find me on a Tuesday and say hello. I'm always on campus. I love to know when our staff is watching. And then my memory is the size of a pea.
April from Nevada.
April from Nevada. April, I'm going there this weekend. I'll say hi to you. So the next panel we're going to talk about is this panel right here. Now, hopefully you can see it. I see that the sun is right behind me, and I apologize. When you go to the National Archives, of course, the Charters of Freedom are just those three documents. It's the Declaration of Independence, it's the Constitution, it's the Bill of Rights. But when the Pattersons created this monument setting, it was very important to them to include a panel on civil rights. We couldn't agree more. So this panel includes Amendments 13, 14, 15, 19, and 24. Those amendments profoundly transformed American society by making racial discrimination illegal, ensuring fundamental rights for all citizens. And so we're so glad that we have this panel here as part of our setting. Now, there's something else as part of this setting that I really want to point out to you. So we're going to move to the shade. So maybe now you can actually see what we're talking about. And we're going to point the camera down at my feet. And where I'm standing, hopefully you can see these. These are brick pavers that are in front of the monument setting. And for as low as $100, yes, I'm going to be a salesperson right now. For as low as $100, you can be permanently added to our Charters of Freedom setting. I have purchased one in my family's name. You'll see, depending upon how the camera's showing it, you'll see that there's only maybe a dozen or so that have been purchased. More have been purchased. They're continuing to sell more. And in February of 2025, I believe on President Reagan's birthday, February 6th of 2025, they're going to come add all the new ones. So you have between now and February 6th to add your name permanently to our Charters of Freedom monument setting. It's really easy. You just go to chartersoffreedom.com. That's all you have to do. You click on Support Us, and then you click on Purchase a Paver. One really important fact: it asks you for a shipping location. Choose the Reagan Library, because they are selling pavers for every single monument setting they have across the United States, and they have a ton. So make sure as your shipping destination, you choose the Reagan Library. If you do that, they're going to come out in February and add you permanently to our Reagan Library setting. I highly advise you to do that. Now, as you know, if you watch these every month, we do also show you items from the museum store that tie into whatever we're talking about. We don't necessarily have anything in our museum store that ties to the Charters of Freedom. But of course, what's so incredible about the Charters of Freedom is these men took, pen to paper and created our nation. So we use that theme of pen to paper, and we are going to show you something that's really cool. These were added to our store literally about an hour ago, not joking to you. These are, and it rolled away. I'm going to pull it out. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Library Foundation collaborated with Cross Pens. Ronald Reagan was the first U.S. president to ever be photographed using a cross pen, and he actually used cross pens on his inauguration day in January 20th of 1981. The original pen is actually in our archives here. So we partnered with Cross to make these beautiful pens. They come in gold, they come in silver, they come in black. The pens have, I know you're not going to see it on the camera screen necessarily, the pens have the Reagan Presidential Library seal on the pen tip, and then they also have, you can't see it on this one, but I don't know if you can see it on the black, they also have Ronald Reagan's signature on them. So this is a really unique item for yourself for a gift, and it's really easy to find. You just go to reaganlibrary.com/store. Of course, you can search our entire store and buy anything you want. We would love it. But if you just go to reaganlibrary.com/store and scroll down just a little bit, you'll see the featured product section, and these pens are featured in the featured product section. So really easy to find. So again, chartersoffreedom.com to buy a paver, reaganlibrary.com/store to buy a pen. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is how you can come see these. But before we do, I'm going to turn to my folks behind the scenes and see if there's anyone else who has a question or who said hi.
Hiraki wants to know if the metaverse Reagan Library is still a thing happening, like a metaverse.
I'm not sure if I understand your question. We are definitely a campus that's open to the public. We're on all of the social channels. So I think you're probably watching us on YouTube, but you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram. So in a metaverse, we're there that way. And then, James, is there anyone on Facebook? No, okay. You guys are quiet today. That's no fun. I'm giving you all a homework assignment. I'm back on the first Wednesday of October inside of our special exhibition on the relationship of Pope John Paul II and Ronald Reagan. Come equipped with questions. That's your homework assignment. But now let's talk about how you can actually come and experience the Charters of Freedom setting for yourself. What's really spectacular about this is obviously I'm standing outside. Everything on the Reagan Library campus that is outside is free. You just have to come during normal operating hours, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come on up, no cost to park your car, come on in. Everything outside is free. So that's not just the Charters of Freedom Monument setting, it's President and Mrs. Reagan's memorial site. It's a Gold Star family memorial. It's a Blue Star memorial marker. It's an F-117 stealth fighter jet. It's an F-14 fighter jet. It's an Abrams M1 tank. Plus all of the beautiful gardens. I'm standing just adjacent to our White House South Lawn replica. We have a White House Rose Garden replica. We have statues across our entire property. You don't even have to buy anything. Bring a picnic lunch. Come up and stroll our grounds and sit on our grass or sit at our picnic benches and eat a picnic lunch. You can get into the museum store and you can get into our cafe for free as well. So that's a whole day's experience without even paying. Of course, we're not going to stop you from going inside the museum and paying admission, seeing the Reagan Library Museum, touring on board Air Force One, and seeing our special exhibitions, of course, right now on Star Wars and the Strategic Defense Initiative, as well as the Pope exhibit, which I'm going to share with you when we come to you next month. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. We know you have so many choices out there, and the fact that you sit here and watch this with us really means a lot. So thank you so much. We'll see you the first Wednesday of October. See you next time.
7 articles in the United States Constitution. We will fire 1 round for each article of the Constitution. Are my cannoneers ready? My drummer today is Jim Thompson, ready to be a part of history. Drum roll, please. Article 1 defines the legislative branch, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. It describes their powers and responsibilities. Article 2 defines the executive branch, the President and Vice President, their powers, responsibilities, and means of removal from office. Article 3 sets up the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, and the lower court system. It protects the right of trial by jury and defines treason. Article 4 gives the states the right to make and carry out their own laws related to the people and problems of their state, so long as those laws do not conflict with the United States Constitution. Article 5 outlines the process for amending the United States Constitution. Article 6 sets the United States Constitution as the supreme law of the land, to which all leaders, including the legislative, executive, and judicial, must be loyal. Article 7 addresses ratification and declares that the United States Constitution shall take effect if 9 of 13 states ratify. Children, veterans, and all citizens of California, I give you your charters of freedom.